Feeling your emotions aren't a waste of time. They're your way to a better life. Welcome to How to Beat You podcast. I'm your host, Jarrell Henry. You can stay up to date with all things How to Beat You at my personal socials at Jarrell.Henry on all platforms. Today we're talking about why you need to feel your emotions. Your emotions is like a map, and it's trying to get you to a whole place. And I know most of us don't know what that's like, but feeling your emotions is a way to get there. It's a way to understand where you are and where you have to go. So it's necessary for you to feel your emotions. And I know that may be hard. So when you feel a emotion bubbling up, versus like trying to immediately stop it and diminish it and shut it down, just sit with it for at least 90 seconds without judgment, without anything. Just sit and just let yourself feel. And there is no bad thing that you're going to get from just feeling. I know how essential feeling your emotions are because I remember back in 2013, my mom died. And I remember during that process, I cried so much and I was so sad and so heartbroken that eventually I was like, I'm done crying. I'm not going to cry no more. And I stopped crying. And for a process of like 4 or 5 years, I was not capable of crying just because I had shut that part of my body off. But just because you shut down an emotion, that doesn't make it go away, or that doesn't make it not needed in your body. It's just you're stuck. So it took something really terrible for me to finally start crying. And once I did, I could keep doing it. But it was hard. I remember there being times where I wanted to cry, but I was just physically incapable of doing so. And that's what happened. Like, your trauma gets stuck in your body if you don't allow yourself to express it. And that's where feeling your emotions comes in, because that's a healthy way for you to express it. And when it comes to feeling your emotions, the first place to start most times is just to acknowledge what you're feeling. You already got these emotions bubbling up in you. And then it's just like, okay, what am I feeling? I'm mad. Why am I mad? And that way you can get to the root of the situation. But just because you got to the root of the situation, that doesn't mean you actually are feeling it. That just means you understand where you're going. Like, I was also notorious for doing that. Even up to 2023, when I had a girlfriend, she called me out on it. She was like, you're not feeling your emotions. You just intellectualizing them. Basically, you just, like I said, you just understanding the problem, but you aren't doing what's necessary to actually solve the problem. And I didn't like that, but it was the truth. And that's what a lot of us are doing. But that's not what gets you where you want to be. So you have to really feel it to get past it. And we got this emotion. Well, we started getting this feeling like, or this thinking that some emotions are healthy and some aren't. But that's not true. Every emotion is healthy and valid and necessary, because they all teach you something about your experience. Like, if you're mad, that's your party is probably telling you in some way or another that you don't feel like you're being done right. And you can choose to just shut it down, but that doesn't mean that you aren't being done wrong. It's just you're not allowing you to express yourself, to express the thing to help you overcome it. And when it comes to expression, like, allow yourself to express, but know it's on you to express it in a healthy way. Like, if I'm mad, yeah, I got every right to be loud. I got every right to be upset. But that don't mean I need to go punching walls or punching somebody unless it's time to fight. But like, I used to I used to get pissed and I punch a wall and I thought it was fine or cool or whatever, but it wasn't. Like, that was just me not knowing how to healthily deal with that stuff, deal with those emotions. And I kept doing it until I about broke my knuckle punching a brick wall. And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. but but you don't it doesn't have to go that far. I mean, if you're already there, then I get it. But there are plenty of other healthy ways to deal with your emotions. You can journal, you can write, you can listen to music, you can watch movies, you can make art, you can talk to a friend, you can go to a therapist, you can cry. There are so many healthy ways for you to express your emotion that isn't per se toxic or putting your responsibilities of your emotions on somebody else. Like, if somebody piss you off, I'm not telling you not to be pissed off, but you it's not their job to feel your emotion. It's your job to feel your emotion. And even if you express a part of it to them, if you throwing all of it on them, that's still not healthy or fair because you played a role in allowing it get to this point. Like, a greater one is for anger. If somebody been playing with your face in your face and it gets to a certain point where you can't let it fly no more and now you pissed or whatever, that's valid, but you could have shut it down earlier before it got so overwhelming. And you have to own your part in your problems and in your feelings. And that's something a lot of us don't want to do because we just like point the finger and it's like, he did this to me, she did this to me, da, 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 da. And that's valid. And I'm not telling you, even if there is a situation where somebody did something they had no business doing to you and you weren't in a position of power to stop it, I understand that. But understand it's still on you to feel and deal with these things. And you trying to push off responsibility to other people isn't going to work or isn't healthy. And I don't think that you should always throw that on other people. Like, I've had some people that I was close with who, just because I'm caring and loving and in touch with my emotions, they try to make me their therapist. And I've had to separate from some of those people, but it's not out of lack of love for that person. But I got my own shit. Like, everybody has their own emotional baggage. And I can't, when I was a people pleaser, it was fine because I was fine with putting my needs to the side for somebody else. But nowadays, no, I can't carry your load when I'm struggling with mine. But if I'm telling you that I'm struggling with mine and you don't want to respect that and you just want to keep dumping your load on me, okay, now it's on me to stand up and speak for my boundaries and distance myself because it's on you to deal with your problems. I understand. And it's perfectly healthy to lean on people you love. But there's a difference between leaning on somebody and laying on somebody. And some of us, when we just go through stuff, they just want to throw all their things on somebody else. And then they feel fine, but that other person is going through it. And that's not fair and that's not healthy. So don't be doing that. Learn how to handle your own shit. Learn how to handle your own emotions. Learn what works for you and what doesn't. I'm not saying you have to have it all figured out right now, but you need to start doing the work to understand it because that's the only way you will be able to ever be regulated in yourself and good really all alone. Not to say you need to be alone, but you need to be able to handle and process these things alone if you want to be this version of you that isn't so tied to your baggage because nobody can do the inner work for you. They can show up for you and they can support you and they can cheer you on and they can believe in you and they can love you, but they can't do the inner work for you. Only you can do that. And that's the work that most people run from. Most people, they'll work so hard and do these things, but they never want to deal with all the baggage and burdens that they got in their heart and soul. But that's what's going to move you forward. That's what's going to break some of these blockages. That's what's going to help you elevate. The inner work is just as important as the outer work. So don't think that working yourself out of the situation is going to make you feel better because those are two different battles. Your inner government is your inner body is governed by your inner self. Just like your outer experience to a certain extent is your outer self, how you showing up and everything, but no amount of money is going to make you feel whole if you aren't doing the work to feel whole. And I just I want you to know, like, you can move past all the trauma and doubt and worries and grudges and hatred that you have. But it takes work. It takes you understanding why you feel this deep about this situation. What about it is it? Is it just this situation, or is it attached to this other trauma and other things? And it's on you to understand and break that all down, but also while in the process of understanding it, to feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to be pissed. Allow yourself to, I want to say, even be numb for a second, just due to the level of experience that you feeling, because it's all valid and needed. I don't want you to stay numb, but all of these traumas and doubts and dramas that you've built up in yourself for the past 10, 15, 20 years, like, it takes time to break all of that down. But if you never start that journey, it won't happen. And that's where we see a issue with a lot of our parents. A lot of people's parents, they never took the time to really deal with all the baggage and hurt and hate, like, things that they felt. So they push it on their kids, and then they kids know it's not fair, even though they kids are hurt and they are affected by these things. And that's what I'm saying. When you just throwing your emotions and your baggage on other people, you are corroding other people. You are really doing damage that may or may not be reversed in their lifetime if they never learn how to do it. So it's on you to learn how to do it. It's on you to make yourself and also your environment a safe space for you and the people you love. It's necessary. It's dire, because your bondage and trauma and baggage don't just affect you. They affect everyone you know. They affect every relationship you're in. They affect everyone you love. And though your emotions are never like good or bad per se, how you handle them can make these experiences very good or very bad. So you need to be intentional and work through it, because it's necessary. It's you have to. It's you have to. Running from your emotions and your trauma will only keep you running until you die. That's not how you live a fulfilled life, because eventually you're going to get tired. Eventually you're going to want to sit down. And if you're never dealing with these things, then when you get so exhausted, you have to sit down. It's overwhelming. And that's also why I think you have to be careful with how you handle these emotions. Like, if you are running from them in some sort of addiction where it's like smoking or drinking or whatever, I'm not judging you, but you're not really handling it most of those situations. Like, I smoked heavily for at least like 7, 8 years. I was smoking all the time, and I started at 15, 16. So that was the only way that I knew how to actually feel my emotions and regulate my emotions. And if that's where you at, I understand that. But that just keeps you in a cycle of actually being addicted, of actually not being able to handle yourself. And it wasn't until I took a long break that I learned how to regulate these things inside myself without the need of weed or liquor or whatever. And now I don't even smoke or drink because I'm good. That's what I got from it. And I don't need that no more. I don't want you to be reliant on whatever substance or whatever other person to handle your shit, because this is your shit. This is your life. It's on you. You can learn how to deal with these things. You can learn how to feel your emotions. You can allow yourself to cry. You can allow yourself to even feel hopeless at times. Like, it's all okay and essential. You are no weaker for crying. You are no weaker for feeling what you feel. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you strong. I'm pretty sure it was Jay-Z. He was saying that he think the strongest thing a man can do is to cry in public. And I don't know how much I agree with that, but I do think it's necessary to allow yourself to cry and feel and just know it don't make you no weaker person. Like, vulnerability is a strength. If in your art, in your whatever, if you aren't being vulnerable, it's only so feeling. To a certain extent, it will be hollow because you're not giving it that real that makes it bigger than just art, that makes it emotional, that makes it worth time and love and all of that. So you have to learn how to process and feel and heal yourself. And I'm pretty sure that starts with learning how to see and acknowledge and feel your emotions. And it's very doable. You can do that without anything. You can do that without anything or anybody. And I understand if you don't know where to start. That's fine. I think, like I said, a great place to start is when you are dealing with all of these emotions, to just allow yourself to sit in them without running in no form. Don't get on your phone. Don't roll up no joint. Please don't hit no pipe or nothing. Please don't. That ain't it. But just let yourself feel for at least 90 seconds. And then you can go past. You might be in that moment thinking like, why the fuck am I doing this? But it's necessary. You have to slowly train yourself how to deal and heal of these things. And that's what's necessary. So I just say thank you for staying tuned to this episode and really being locked in. You can stay up to date with all things How to Beat You podcast at our personal socials at Jarrell.Henry. And you've been listening to How to Beat You podcast, the place where we grow together. I'm your host, Jarrell Henry. Thank you. And know you can feel your emotions and you will be okay. You can overcome any trauma you have attached to you. But the way to that is through your emotions and not running from them. Thank you.